Good morning, my dear students. Today we will be continuing the inheritance chapter. In the previous session, we had discussed chapter number 10, that is inheritance, which is a part of programming in C++ unit. So, we will have a session on inheritance. So, the inheritance chapter is chapter number 10 and the weightage of this chapter is 5 marks. So, you will be getting one question from this chapter for 5 marks. So, you will have one question from this chapter for 5 marks. This chapter is a very simple chapter and it is also easy chapter. There are very few topics in this chapter and you will be getting one definite question for 5 marks. So, let us have a recap of the things what we studied in the previous session, that is we discussed what is inheritance. So, inheritance is a process of acquiring the properties of one class into another class. We are deriving or we are inheriting the existing properties of one object or one class into another. So, we can create a new object from an existing object. We can reuse the existing object and that concept is called inheritance. So, we had a discussion on types of inheritance, that is single, multi-level, multiple, hybrid and hierarchical inheritance. We also had discussed base class and derived class. Base class is the existing class whose properties will be inherited, and derived class is the new class into which the properties will be inherited. We also discussed visibility mode. When a class is derived, we derive using a access specifier, that is public, private or protected, which is also called visibility mode. We have three types of inheritance, that is public inheritance, private inheritance, protected inheritance. We also had discussed single level inheritance and multi-level inheritance. Single level inheritance means there is only one base class and one derived class. Multi-level inheritance means if a class is derived from already derived class, that means if we have class A, imagine we are deriving class B from class A. Now, class A is the base class and class B is the derived class. If we derive class C from class B, which is already derived from class A, that type of inheritance is called multi-level inheritance. So, this is about the recap what we studied in the previous class. Let us continue and check out the next topic of this chapter. So, now we will discuss the next continuation to the other inheritance, that is multiple, hierarchical, hybrid. So, single and multi-level we have already discussed. Remaining three types of inheritance we will be discussing now. Let us discuss what is multiple inheritance. Multiple inheritance means if a class is derived from more than one base classes. So, for example, we can see class D is derived from class A, B and C. So, like that A, B, C, there can be n number of base classes. So, here a class is derived from multiple base classes. So, as you can see in the example, we have base class 1, base class 2, like that there can be n base classes. So, and also you can observe the example, we have A, B and C. There are three base classes. Class D is derived from class A, B and C. This type of inheritance is called multiple inheritance. In multiple inheritance, there are multiple base classes and only one derived class. So, in the example, D is the derived class, A, B, C are the base classes. Next, we have hierarchical inheritance. Hierarchical inheritance is similar to the inverted tree structure. So, where there is one base class and there can be n number of derived classes and there can be classes at various levels. As you can see here, class G is derived into class B and class E. Class B is again derived into class C, A and C. Similarly, class E is derived into class D and F. So, here you can see in the example, class A is derived from class B, C and D. This type of inheritance is called hierarchical inheritance. Now we discuss the last category of inheritance, that is hybrid inheritance. So, hybrid inheritance is a combination of multi-level, multiple and hierarchical inheritance. So, as you can see in the example, we can there is one base class and there are two derived classes, class 1 and class 2, and there is class 3 which is derived from class 1 and 2. So, you can see in the example, class A, B and C are derived from class A, again D is derived from class B and C. So, it is a combination of multi-level and multiple and also hierarchical inheritance. This is explained better with this example. So, you can see class A, class B. Class B is derived from class A. So, where it involves single inheritance. So, similarly you can see class C and class D are derived from class B, which is nothing but hierarchical inheritance. In hierarchical inheritance, there are multiple derived class and one base class. So, similarly when you see the other example, we have class A, class C and class B are derived from class A, which this type of inheritance is called hierarchical inheritance, where there is one base class and multiple derived class. And then you can see class C and class B is commonly derived into class D. Class D is derived from class B and class C. That is multiple inheritance. As you closely observe, class C is derived from class B is derived from class A, which is nothing but multi-path or multi-level inheritance. So, we say that hybrid inheritance is a combination of all types of inheritance, that is single, multiple, multi-level and hierarchical inheritance. So, this is called hybrid inheritance. Let us see a practical program where we create a base class containing roll number and name, and also we will accept read and display function. Using concept of single level inheritance, we will create one more class, the derived class, which contains two subject marks, that is total and marks. So, as you can see in the example, we have class student with two members, roll number and name. Get will accept roll number and name, put will print the roll number and name. Then you can see class test public student. Test is derived from student class, which has M1, M2 and total. M1 stores the first marks, M2 will store the second marks. Get R will accept roll number and name. Likewise, get M will accept marks. Like you can see in the base class, put R will print roll number and name. Here put M will print marks and total. So void main test1 T1 dot get R will read roll number and name. T1 dot get M will accept marks. T1 dot put M will print marks and T1 dot put R will print the roll number and the name. So in this program we are creating a class called student with roll number and name, and that properties are inherited in class test, where we are storing test marks, that is mark 1 and mark 2, and we are finding the total and we are printing. As you can see in the example, the object is created to test. Test is the derived class. We are not creating object for student, but still we are accessing getter and putter because test is derived from student. Let us see the following example. Class D is derived from class B. Class B is again derived from class A. Similarly, class D is derived from class C and class A. Now, class D will have all the properties of class B plus class A, and class D will have all the properties of class C and class A. So, class D will have the properties of class B, as you see in the example, class D is derived from class B and C. B and C are commonly derived from A. So, class D will have properties of B and C and two copies of A, one from B and the other from C. So, class D will have two copies of A, that is one from B and one from D. So, here you can see class D is derived from class B and C, where B and C are commonly derived from class A. Class D will have all the properties of class B, class C and class A and its own properties. The problem here is class D has two copies of class A. One is through B, the other one is through C, as B and C are commonly derived from A. When the properties of class A are accessed through D, ambiguity is created. Ambiguity means confusion. Compiler is confused as to which copy of A has to execute, whether it has to execute the copy of A from B or copy of C from A. So, to avoid this, we use virtual base classes. This problem is also called diamond like problem. So, in this problem we will be using virtual base classes to avoid this. As you can see here, class A, class B is derived from class A. Similarly, class C, again it is derived from A. Class D is derived from B and C, as we have added a word virtual. So, when we add a word virtual, then if there is a class commonly derived, as you see in the example, class B and class C is commonly derived from class A, compiler makes sure that from B and C only one copy of A is made available. As class B and class C are derived from class A, which is inherited using virtual base classes. If there is any class deriving from B and C, only one copy of A is made available. So, in the previous example we saw D will have two copies of A, one through B and one through C. To avoid this, we added a word virtual. Virtual public A while deriving B, and similarly virtual public A while deriving C, which makes sure that if we derive a class from B and C, that class will get only one copy of A, not two copies of A. This is called virtual base classes. Let us discuss what is abstract class. Abstract class is a class for which object is not created. So, ಯಾವ ಕ್ಲಾಸಿಗೆ ಆಬ್ಜೆಕ್ಟ್ ಕ್ರಿಯೇಟ್ ಆಗೋದಿಲ್ವೋ that class is called abstract class. Abstract class are always on the top level of hierarchy. So, now we will see what if there are constructors available in the derived classes and base class. As you saw, student class ige there is one student class and test class. Test is derived from student. In the main program we created only the object for test, not the student. Through test we accessed student members also. So, let us see if there are constructors. Constructor is a special member function which will have same name as the class name, and it gets automatically executed when an object is created. So, as we say that when an object is created, it gets automatically executed. The problem here is we never create an object for the base class. We are creating object only for the derived class. In such a case, what happens? When a class is derived, the base class and the derived class can have constructors. A constructor is automatically called when an object is created. When a class is derived, an object is created to the derived class. If the base class has and derived class has constructor, then first the base class constructor is executed and then the derived class constructor is executed. See, when base class and derived class have constructors, first base class constructor is executed and then the derived class constructor is executed. What about in multi-level or hybrid or hierarchical? When an object is created to the class, the constructor of the base class in the top level hierarchy is called, and then the base class constructor in the next level hierarchy is called, and this is continued to the next hierarchy till the derived class is accessed. Like we see in the example, class A has a constructor. Class B is derived from class A. Class B also have constructor. Class C is derived from class B. Class B is derived from class A. So, when I create an object for C, first class A constructor is called and then class B constructor is called, and if there is a constructor in class C, and then the class C constructor will be executed. In the example, when we create the OB object, so as we see that OB is the object created for C class. When OB is created, first A constructor is called and then B constructor is called and then C constructor is executed. So, in the same hierarchy, the constructors are executed. First the base class constructor is executed and then the derived class constructor is executed. Whereas we have destructors which are executed in the reverse order. When a class is derived, the base and the derived class can have destructors. A destructor is automatically called when an object is destroyed. When a class is derived, if the base class and derived class have destructors, first the derived destructor is executed and then the base destructor is executed. Whereas constructor, first base class constructor is executed and then the derived class constructor is executed. Whereas in destructor it works in the reverse order. First the derived destructor is executed and then the base class destructor is executed. So, this is about inheritance, how constructors, destructors can be used in inheritance and how they can be executed. kindly go through the video and then also attend the questionnaires which will be sent. Thank you. Have a great day.